I sit here awaiting the Westland Whirlwind helicopters to come in and to pick us up and to take us back to camp. I'm hot and tired. We've only now completed contact with the terrorists, and damn, I could murder a brew. In June 1948, a state of emergency was declared in one of our colonies of Malaya. The Malayan National Liberation Army, the armed wing of the Malayan Communist Party, began attacking rubber plantations, mines and police stations, derailing trains and burning workers' houses. The insurgency was described as an emergency because insurers will not compensate plantations and mine owners if it is labelled a war. The communists of the MNLA are jungle-based and supported by the impoverished Chinese population. Although many Chinese are living in the cities, others are living on the fringes of the jungle and are aiding the guerrillas. These are known as squatters. The MNLA and its supporters are calling the campaign the Anti-British National Liberation War. Our battalion arrived in Singapore on a troop ship, Dilwara, on the 19th of October 1955. After a very short stay at the Nee Soon camp, the battalion moved off to the Far East Land Forces Training Centre at Togatingi. There we learnt on how to live and fight in the jungle. Our battalion had just completed a jungle course when we were about to complete our final jungle exercise, when word went around the company that the 9th Independent Platoon Malayan Races Liberation Army had just robbed and burnt the village of Kampong Tai Hong, just north of Takota Tingi on the Johor River, during the night of the 27th and 28th November 1955. Our battalion moved into the jungle just northeast of the Takota Tingi. Two of our companies were taken into the jungle by a police launch. For the next 5 days, our company and others from the battalion searched the whole area, but there was no sign of the independent platoon. On the 2nd December, we had orders to return to the Nee Soon camp. Word got round that we were moving up country to Kulang, I think it's called. During the 13th and 14th of December 1955, our battalion relieved the 1st Battalion, the East Yorkshire Regiment, at Kulang. We were told by the platoon sergeant we were joining other units to take part in an Operation Huckster. Our battalion is to take over the imposition of food control on Kowloon town, on 4 new villages and 11 estate lines. On the 13th of January 1956, Phase 11 of the Operation Huckster began. This was a full-scale food lift on the Kulang town. Then, on the 21st of February 1956, Operation Tingley Pie began. Its climax was in the bombing of the 7th Independent Platoon camp in the Chamek swamp. We had orders to cordon off the area along with the 1st Battalion Fiji Infantry Regiment. Following the bombing ceasing, my company and the rest of the battalion began a search of the bombed area. I had missed the war, which a lot of the lads had fought in, and I hadn't seen a dead body before. We had found 13 members of the independent platoon and 1 injured communist terrorist who later died of his wounds. Amongst the dead was a political commissar. After Tingley Pie, the Era Hitam jungle became our focus of operations against the 3rd Independent Platoon. During these operations, our company, whilst on a standing patrol, we killed 3 of a mixed group of 12 communist terrorists who had walked into our position. We'd opened up with SLR, number 4s, Brens and SMGs. I was later told the dead were the branch committee secretary of the 5th Mes Batu Farat Road branch and 2 female members of the 3rd Independent Platoon. Of the other 3 communist terrorists wounded in the contact, 1 later died of his wounds in the jungle. Throughout this period, one of our companies was maintained on jungle operations, whilst the rest of us continued with the food control. On the 11th of June 1956, our company were asked to form an ambush patrol. We were commanded by Captain C. Morgan and Lieutenant Howell Jones. Acting on the information that had been received by battalion, we had opened up during the ambush. This resulted in one female member of the Noya branch being killed. I was told from the Corp a second member of the branch had also been killed by C Company patrol during the follow-up operation. On June the 18th, 1956, our battalion had orders to take part in Operation Canterbury. This began with a bombing attack on the area of Sebrong River, north of Kulang, in which the Special Branch had deduced that most of the Kulang Malayan Communist Party district were camping. Our company, along with the rest of the battalion, had orders to fly into the area by helicopters of the 848th Squadron Royal Navy. Our brief was to again search the area for terrorists. On the 19th of June, a patrol from A Company, who were led by Captain Igab Goat, attacked a camp occupied by 10 communist terrorists. During the short firefight, one terrorist was killed. Over the next 3 days, the escaping terrorist group were being tracked by our mortar platoon with devastating results. A party of 5 terrorists walked into our ambush party, commanded by Corporal Meredith. Following a short firefight, one communist terrorist was killed. This operation ended on the 29th of June. Only 2 days later, I heard that a 17-year-old Chinese member had surrendered to the Sembong oil palm group. Our battalion continued with the food control, rubber and jungle patrols in the Kulang area until the 26th of July. On the 27th of July 1956, the battalion again had orders and we moved to operational camps. These were prepared by company advance parties in the Sigmat area. On the 15th of August, my company, along with the rest of the battalion, are lifted into the jungle once more. This time, the north of Segmat, and again in helicopters from the 848th Squadron Royal Navy. For the next 14 days, I, along with all the other companies, worked south through the dense jungle, and then in through the Selma small holdings. The aim of our operation is to learn the ground and to speak to villagers for the use of possible future operations. On the 1st September, my company, along with A, B and C companies, moved into the Sembram area. We were at this time under command of the 26th Brigade. We were joining in on an Operation Falling Cloud against Tang Phuc Lung and his 3rd Independent Platoon. We returned to Segmat on the 4th of September. Again, we were taking part in another operation, this time named Cobble. Our battalion had left Segmat area for the jungle south of Gemas. On the 5th of September, a party of support company, which included me, with representatives of the 848th Squadron and the 40th Gurkha Field Engineer Regiment, moved into the Gemas jungle. This too was very hard going and very dense, and had to be cut by machete to gain access in parts. On the 7th, we stopped and found a suitable clearing in the jungle. We blew a large landing zone. This then helped the rest of the battalion to be helicoptered in. This was to start another operation called Morning Crack against the Gemas Buaru branch of the North Segmat district. During the operation, we found a lot of very recently built or old communist camps, but the branch were not to be seen. On the evening of the 12th September, an ambush party had been drawn from lads from the battalion HQ and commanded by the Adjutant Major A.K. Sharp. They were acting on Special Branch information. It appears they have killed 3 out of the 4 terrorists who had entered their ambush position. The dead terrorists, all of the Bukit Suput branch of the Segmat Malayan Communist Party. They included Mun Leong, the district committee member, his wife and another male member of the branch. The fourth terrorist escaped wounded. On the 15th September, battalion band and drums under Lieutenant R.I. Howell Jones have found a large pile of kit that was dumped at some distance away by the communist terrorists before they set off on the journey for which they were ambushed. On the 8th of October, again acting on special branch information, another patrol commanded by Captain La Napier and Lieutenant R.H. Godwin Austin attacked a resting place of the branch. This resulted in them killing the branch committee secretary of the Blukut Suput branch and another of the Tinang branch. Both were of the Segmat Malayan Communist Party district. On the 10th, my company, along with the rest of the battalion, were again helicoptered into the jungle north of Segmat. This time, we were as far as the Pegang border, I believe it's called. On the 26th of October, I, along with the rest of the battalion, were moved to Singapore. Our job is to be for internal security duties. Many of us had to be helicoptered out of the jungle before being placed on 4-tonners and driven to Singapore. After helping out at Singapore, we were again ordered back into Segmat area. This was on the 5th November, I believe. We then again carried out jungle operations. On the 1st December, an ambush party of B Company and commanded by Major A. Gwyn Jones, and again acting on special branch information, killed 2 male Chinese communist terrorists. Both branch committee members of the Simplar branch of Segmat Malayan Communist Party district. Until the new year, we continued operations on a company basis, and at the same time we're finishing making preparations for the beginning of Phase 2 of Operation Cobble. The 5th of January saw Phase 2 of Operation Cobble begin. Our battalion have been tasked to set up gate checks. We are to man these continuously. We are all posted to a total of 25 gates. These are perimeter fences and rubber estates with small holdings regularly patrolled. Food checks are carried out in all the new villages and estates that come within our battalion area. On the 14th of February, acting on information from Special Branch, a combined ambush party from both B and C companies, commanded by Major Gwyn Jones, had killed Yap Cow, a male member of the Simplar branch of the Segmat Malayan Communist Party district. On the 15th of February, C Company moved into the jungle to search for a camp, where it was thought that Yap Cow may have come from. It appears they have found a hurriedly evacuated communist terrorist resting place just on the jungle's edge. Close to this resting place, it was found a large acid jar containing 40 catties of rice. On the 7th of March, the lads from B Company and a party from the 1st Battalion Rhodesian African Rifles ambushed and killed a member of the Simplar branch. On the 14th and 19th of March, the training wing of the battalion carried out an operation on Mount Umpho with 3 terrorists surrendering from the West Segment Malayan Communist Party district. On the 16th of April, a reconnaissance patrol from our support company had killed a male member of a party of 3 communist terrorists, who they met in one of the Simplar small holdings. On the 14th of May, our battalion started Operation Rising Lift. We all used a very large number of standing patrols that we established across the routes that were known to be used by the communist terrorists moving between the jungle and the rubber plantations. Half of our battalion were lifted into the jungle by helicopter. The remainder, including me, walked at night to the edge of the jungle. We all used a very large number of standing patrols that we established across the routes that are known to be used by the communist terrorist moving between the jungle and the rubber plantations. On the 16th of May, a patrol of C Company, commanded by Lieutenant G.L. Davis, killed a number of terrorists who they saw fishing in a stream near their own positions. One of the dead terrorists was identified as a member of the Simplar branch. On the 20th of May, word was going around that the branch committee member, Meng Li, of the Sempala branch, had surrendered. He was the second of 2 communist terrorists contacted on the 16th of May. Hearing this good news, our battalion were returned to food control duties. On the 8th of June, our battalion left Segmat, to the relief of all the lads. We had been lucky. I don't think we lost a single person on the operations. A miracle when you hear about some other battalions. Only casualties we were getting were from various jungle illnesses and bites. Both our company and C Company are relieving the 2nd Battalion Royal Welsh Fusiliers in South Johor. The remainder of our battalion are moving to Singapore. On the 30th of June, we all met up and were concentrated at the Serang Barracks at Singapore Island. We are here for retraining, as if we didn't have enough on-job training during the operation, but you know the army. On the 16th of September, our battalion tactical headquarters with B Company and C Company are moved to Tampoi on the northern outskirts of the Johor Bahru. Our companies began operations a few days ago against a Pontain Malayan Communist Party district. It's the 22nd of October. Sergeant Major has just informed us that the terrorists have just walked into a standing patrol from C Company. 2 male Chinese have been killed and 6 packs recovered. The terrorists have just been identified as a branch committee member of the Pontain Road branch of the Kwai Hoi, branch committee member of the Gulang Puta branch. I think that's how you say it. Sound of helicopters arriving and the landing. Right, come on lads, let's move out. On a hot and sunny Singapore morning in September 1958, the troop ship Dilwara swung away from the quayside. The band of the Royal Marines playing the Welsh national anthem across the water as the troop ship pulled away. Through the last cheers and cries of the waving crowd, to be echoed in song by the lads from the battalion who lined the ship's rails of the ship. Colonel Richard Myers, who had commanded the battalion through Malaya, with a characteristic gesture, was in front of the crowd on the quayside, waving his hat above the crowd. A last farewell to our battalion, he is leaving. This received the last and loudest of cheers. The medal roll for the battalion, the General Service Medal with clasp, Malaya, contains 1,585 names. This means that the personnel in the battalion was renewed twice over the 3 years in Malaya and Singapore.